Hi, this is Stephanie Miller from The Stephanie Miller Show. Please enjoy this exclusive clip from my show on Political Voices Network.
There's a side-by-side of him from the 2000 and I believe it was 16 debate with Hillary Clinton and the one he just did with Kamala Harris. And you can see very clearly his mental decline. And the fact that they're not talking about it more is a dereliction of duty for the mainstream media. It's awful.
And he has enablers like Mike Johnson, who, I don't know, may shut the government down for him, tank the immigration bill, and is repeating this crap.
I don't want to reiterate what's been said so clearly and concisely here, but everybody needs to turn down the rhetoric. You just heard the selection of quotes,
Both
the
sides
threats that have been made by leading Democrats in this country. It is inexcusable and it is dangerous. It is leading people to be triggered. When members of Congress or the nominee for president of the Democratic Party says that President Trump must be eliminated or that he's a threat to democracy or they compare him to Hitler, there are people who are unstable, and it makes them do crazy things.
Okay.
This is common sense.
Okay. You mean like the two Republicans that were targeting Trump? And also, it was J.D. Vance that called him America's Hitler.
Yeah.
And
Vice presidential.
the vice president's never said he needs to be eliminated.
No,
she has said he's a threat to democracy, which is not the same as saying someone killed this person. It is saying he is a threat to democracy, which he is. He tried to overturn.
So don't elect him.
There's also two things happening. When Democrats say something about the Republican ticket, it's true. When the Republicans are saying something about the Democratic ticket and all the people they hate in this country, they're falsities. Those are the difference between what's coming out of people's mouths. One is actually true and they're offended by it, and the other one is a blatant lie that is just used to stoke fear in this country. That's the difference.
I don't know what it is, but you have to, apparently leave the Republican Party to reclaim any shred of decency. Liz Cheney out there for Colin Allred running against Ted Cruz in Texas.
I feel that this race is such an important one. I have not endorsed in any other Senate race this time around, but I served with Colin. I know him. I know what kind of a congressman he's been. I watched him. As you said, we were on opposite sides of issues and opposite sides of the aisle. Not every issue on opposite sides, but I also know Ted Cruz. I've known him for over 20 years, and I know that he will say anything if it serves his own political purpose. And the nation is at a moment where we need public servants who are men and women of goodwill, who are men and women who will do the right thing.
And by the way, thank you for her pointing out it's not just House members. Ted Cruz was like lead insurrectionist in the Senate.
In my view, the most conservative value of all is being faithful to the Constitution and doing your duty to uphold the Constitution. And that has to come above party. It has to come above partisanship. And when I watch the kinds of things that we saw Ted Cruz do after the 2020 election in particular, his willingness to do whatever Donald Trump wanted him to do, including proposing this completely unconstitutional plan that would have resulted in throwing out electoral votes, throwing out the votes of millions of Americans, something that, as I said, was unconstitutional. And Ted Cruz was one of the leaders of that in the Senate.
And she went on to give a full-throated endorsement of Allred. She said he's the kind of public servant Texas and the whole country needs in the Senate. So, we probably disagree with her on every other issue, but good for her for taking a stand and saying this is, an existential threat, what is happening in this country right now. They're not preparing to win, they're preparing to cheat. Yes, so 100%. This is one of those instances. So
yeah, sorry.
No, go ahead.
Their Secretary of State, this guy is the same one when the abortion initiative was put on the ballot, that he tried to change it from 50% to 60%, and it didn't happen, and they lost, and abortion became, again, legal in the state of Ohio and protected. This is the same guy that wrote the language, so know that this has been happening for a while. So please get out and vote. You can actually go vote down ballot, get these people out of office. Ohio, you can go blue again. You are not a red state. You are gerrymandered, period.
Thank you. You're a voter suppression state. That's what I always say. So, what would really calm things down if Trump would go to Ohio? That would really...
Yeah.
He implied that immigrants will kill him and eat him. I believe that was...
Yep.
In case you missed that little slice of crazy. In the debate, crowds were cheering him wildly. There were no crowds in the debate. Okay.
He could hear the audience.
Are they in his?
Are they in the room with us now, Donald?
Yeah.
Okay, here's Jim Acosta.
Feel free to correct me if I'm wrong here, but most of the time when you have a senator from a state, that senator will move heaven and earth to make sure that nobody messes with his or her constituents. And here you have a different kind of situation, and that Senator Vance I mean, he is exacerbating the wounds, it seems, of Springfield, Ohio. I mean, we heard Casey a few moments ago describe it as a wound in their community. What is your thought on how Senator Vance is kind of throwing gasoline on the fire there?
Well, his loyalty right now is to the Trump-Vance ticket and not necessarily to his constituents, to your point.
Please, God, let's put Trump in the dustbin of history and then let him get defeated. The only reason he's there is because of Peter Thiel money, and it's just, he shouldn't even be a senator in the first place. Okay, one more real quick.
Trump and Vance apparently are saying they want to visit Springfield. Vivek Ramaswamy is saying he's going to go there tomorrow. Is that a good idea?
I don't know about Ramaswamy. I try to ignore him. I think he's bombastic and useless. But I would stay away if I were Donald Trump and J.D. Vance, simply because I think about this like natural disasters, and you've covered the White House for years, Jim. You know, when a president goes to the site of a hurricane or a tornado, it diverts resources. Law enforcement and first responders have to take care of the president, or in this case, a former president, visiting. I think this would be the absolute worst time for Donald Trump to visit that town, because it would divert resources that are needed elsewhere.
But it would give him attention to go to the site of where he told a despicable racist lie. What would be the point of him going? To quadruple down on his racist lie.
And if anyone doesn't understand no means no, it's Donald Trump. He's going to do what he wants to do.
Yeah, one last one.
He's coming there to stoke the fire, and it's only going to get worse. And God, if I were Mike DeWine, if I were the conservative Republican of Ohio, I would be begging J.D. Vance and Donald Trump to stay away, because the last thing that these people need is for somebody to exploit them even further in their time of need. Schools are being shut down. Kids can't go to school because of what J.D. Vance and Donald Trump
tough to do that with J.D.
started.
Vance. He's the senator from that state.
Then he should think about his own constituents. Sherrod Brown, as you just heard earlier, is doing the right thing. J.D. Vance is doing nothing but exploiting these poor people, and it's a disgrace.
So, Dana, to your point about Ohio, and again, I was saying I was so happy to see Mark Elias on TV, A, for the work he's doing, and B, that he just unequivocally said yesterday, Kamala Harris is going to win and she's going to be inaugurated. We just have to get out and vote, because it is so disturbing, all this stuff they're trying. But I think that's the fine line, is not let us. What did Joan Baez just say? Action is the antidote to despair.
Yeah.
We can't let them. We can't just go, oh, well, they're just going to steal it. So we have to let that piss us off, right, and motivate us even more.
100%. Michelle Obama said it in her speech at the DNC. Do something. Doesn't matter what you do. Do something. Don't just sit there in despair. Do something. Knock on a door. Write a postcard. Talk to someone. Talk to a neighbor. Get someone registered to vote that is not registered to vote. Do something. And so that's what we do on the show. That's what we're doing here.
Yeah, and this, because one of the I don't know if you've seen this, Denial is this new documentary, just about how MAGA fueled conspiracy theories about the 2020 election have impacted the lives of election workers. Bill Gates, a lifelong Republican and Federalist Society member who became a prime target of Trump supporters for certifying election results, and they just... They talk on and on about these despicable threats, and the threats to their wives and daughters are always disgusting and sexual and rapey, and it just, that's what it's like. How do we get here in America? These are Republican officials.
Right.
They're just Republican officials who counted the votes correctly.
That's it. How did we get here? I was thinking the other day that, Twitter right now, and I'll go and call it X because why?
Yeah. Because we're going to dead name it like he does his trans child.
Yeah.
Exactly. Twitter before Elon Musk was a bearable place to be. I feel the same way about this country before Donald Trump. Right. We knew those people were out there, but Donald Trump gave them a voice. He moved the rock, and all of the vermin came out, and all these horrible, terrible things that now people are saying out loud. The same thing happened to Twitter. These two people somehow are giving a voice to the people that think they're voiceless, which is hilarious because they won't stop talking. But this has always been there.
Yeah.
That's the horrifying thing. So now in order to combat this, we have an opportunity to change things now because
Yeah.
we see it. It's in the light now.
Yeah.
You can't fight something that's in the darkness.
I know.
We were doing it,
Well, and-
but now we realize what we actually have to do from here on.
Yeah, and the other big story was Georgia. Georgia election deniers' plot revealed in newly unearthed emails. Republicans in Georgia who helped Trump push lies about 2020 being stolen have been planning to do so again, according to newly unearthed emails. They reveal a behind-the-scenes network of county election officials throughout Georgia who are coordinating on policy and messaging to both call the results of November's election into question before a single vote is cast and push rules and procedures favored by the election denial movement. These are the people Trump is like, oh, we got these pit bulls in Georgia. They're fantastic. I mean, again,
I see in my head what I'm envisioning though is like Mark Elias and the legal team. You know how cops, when they're trying to catch a speeding car and they can't, they put those things in the road that are sharp, the spikes, and the car hits it and it blows the tire. So I feel like that's what's happening right now is all these people are going 100 miles an hour thinking they're going to get away with this crime, and Mark Elias and his entire team are just putting that little thing in the strip where they're going to hit it, they're going to blow out their tires, and it's going to be stopped. We did not know this was going to happen to the extent in 2020. We know now, and we have people in place putting these roadblocks down.
There's no denying it. The vibes are really good right now. But vibes alone won't save our democracy. We need votes. At the Grassroots Democrats HQ, we know what it takes to win elections. Knocking doors, making calls, sending texts, and writing postcards. If we're going to elect Kamala Harris and Tim Walz and give them the Democratic Congress to pass their agenda, then we need to roll up our sleeves and talk to a record number of voters between now and November 5th. But let's be clear, we can't do it without you. So, are you ready to work? This is a fight for freedom and our future, and everything is at stake. Don't wake up on November 6th wishing you had done more. Join us. Go to grassrootsdems.org today to sign up to volunteer, and let's go win this thing.